Good evening, everyone. We are back continuing our Studio Ghibli retrospective. We're up to the 2000s now. We've got The Cat Returns, 2002. I had never seen this one before, but I think, we were talking about the runtime on a lot of these Studio Ghibli films, and we've been loving these films so far. A lot of them do clock in well over 2 hours, don't they? But not this one. This one was like an absolute breeze to watch. This was like 70 minutes. And I really didn't know what to make of this one. Doing this retrospective a few weeks ago, we did the movie Whisper of the Heart, which I think you enjoyed that one, didn't you? It was the one who was writing the fantasy story, the schoolgirl who was coming up with her own story.
It was the one you thought I would enjoy more than I did. It was all right. This one was it was okay. It was all right. It'll do. I won't watch it again. It did its thing, and it took 75 minutes to do its thing, and I'm happy with that. And that was it. It ended.
Yeah, I think any longer and this would have outstayed its welcome. I actually think it was the perfect runtime for this one. It was a nice, easy breeze watch. So I was kind of already prepped for this one when we did Whisper of the Heart, because reading about that film, I think there was an offhanded mention saying that, they eventually did the spin-off film, The Cat Returns, which is about, it's got the Baron character first and foremost, but there's also the character of Muta in this, who's actually called Moon for some reason in Whisper of the Heart. I don't know why they changed the name. I think they do say in Whisper of the Heart, though, that cat goes by many different names. So I guess that's how they get around it. But beyond that, that's all I knew. I knew it was a spin-off on that film, and I knew that the Baron character was going to feature in it somewhere. I actually did know about the English voice cast, because you, of course, watched the dub. And I knew that Tim Curry was in this. And I've checked a few of the other names as well. Anne Hathaway, Cary Elwes, Peter Boyle. Judy Greer, yeah, it's a pretty big cast in that one. So, I always ask you, because I watch the Japanese versions. What was the English version like?
I liked the voices in it. I thought they all fit really well. It was good for the voice acting in this. I think a lot of Studio Ghibli does do well for the voice acting, but I did like the voices in it. Anne Hathaway I didn't recognize her at first. I mean, obviously I knew it was her, so I did, but it wasn't like an obvious, you can just tell. It was kind of, she sounded kind of like normal, if that makes sense. But it wasn't, because you know how you hear some voice actors and all you hear is them. It didn't feel like that, which was good. I think it takes away from things when all you hear is them. I
was trying to think how old she'd be around this time.
Anne Hathaway got a good voice where you don't just hear him, even though you recognize him, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Whereas like some people, you'll hear the voice actor and you just can't, but it just sounds like this person playing this character. Whereas Tim Curry's got a voice where even though you know it's him, he doesn't sound like he's just someone playing a character. He sounds, it works, if that makes sense. Whereas, like I say, all the voice actors in this, like Anne Hathaway, I knew it was her, but it sounded like it was right for the role, So yeah, I think it was a good casting choice.
Yeah, because Tim Curry, we always remember him for roles such as, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of other films that he's done.
What's he called?
Which one?
But the Brutal Legend. What's he called?
Count Daviculus. Yeah.
That's Daviculus, yeah. That's before, yeah.
But jumping off that, he's an incredible voice actor. Like, if you look at his list of credits, the guy's done hundreds of things. And he's an amazing voice actor. I was actually just wondering how old Anne Hathaway would have been during the time of this. And this was her fourth role. So her breakout role was The Princess Diaries. That was in 2001, so a year previous to this. And then she did like a couple of other bit parts after that. And then, the voice in this. Let's jump into it then. So I really didn't know what to make of this film. Now, I knew it was a spin-off, but I was still, part of me was expecting like the lavish animation that we'd seen before. And very, very quickly, from the first couple of frames of the film, I was like, this feels a little bit cheaper. This doesn't feel, I won't say as polished. It doesn't feel as detailed. It felt a lot more digital. And I know that the last couple of years, they were pushing more into digital a little bit. But we actually praised that. We liked the combination of some of the more CGI elements to it, as well as the traditional animated things. Maybe it was just, because we'd hot off the heels of Spirited Away, which was this massive film in terms of animation. I think we both went on record last week praising Spirited Away for being probably the best animated Studio Ghibli film so far. This one, not so much. I'm not going to say the animation's bad. It's just, it feels less detailed. It feels
I
less
think
sumptuous as the other Studio Ghibli
I
films we've
think it
done.
was quite bright. It was a
You know,
very
it was. Yeah.
looking thing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that 3D sort of thing going on where you saw like some of the shots where it panned out, where all like I don't know. I'm just trying to think. There was just some elements where you saw that a lot, and it worked with a lot of it. I think the animation was fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it was quite I don't know how to say, but it was very cartoony, if that makes sense. It was quite bright, it popped out, and yeah, I mean, there wasn't an issue with it, but it was, like you say, just that little bit lower budgety kind of feel.
This almost felt like a direct-to-video movie spin-off. Actually, you know what it reminds me of? When we did the Don Bluth stuff. When we got to Bartok the Magnificent, and it was a spin-off of Anastasia.
Oh, this is
and like the film itself, like it was a little over an hour, and it was fine. It was nice. It was a nice little adventure with some decent animation in there, not quite as polished as Anastasia was, but it was fine. It was good. It reminds me of that a little bit. There's not really going to be much bringing me back to this one, I don't think. And after reading about sort of the history of this film, how it came about, the animation style, maybe looking less detailed, does kind of ring true as to, a little bit of behind the scenes on this. So there was a theme park that came to Studio Ghibli, and they asked them to produce a 20-minute animated short starring cats that they would play at this theme park or whatever. And it was titled, this was around 1999, it was just dubbed the Cat Project, essentially. And Hayao Miyazaki wanted 3 elements in the movie. He wanted the Baron character to be in there. He wanted Muta, who was, he was called Moon in Whisper of the Heart. And he wanted a mysterious antique shop. They were the 3 things that he wanted in the movie. They got to work on it. I think the short was around 45 minutes long at this point. And then the theme park turned around and said, actually, we're cancelling plans. We don't need a film anymore. They took the 45-minute long film that they had, and they passed it to the director, who was Hiroyuki Morita, who's this is his only film. This is one and done film for Studio Ghibli. And he produced apparently a 525-page storyboard of the whole film, what would become The Cat Returns.
525-minute, but I was like, woo!
Or a script, could you imagine? Yeah, no, it'd be like 500 minutes or something like that. It'd be crazy. Yeah, no, 525 pages of storyboards, which was The Cat Returns. And they got to work. So knowing that it had sort of humble beginnings and was going to be a 20-minute short, it was intended to be a short film, which ballooned up to 45 minutes, which ballooned up to 75 minutes, which we have here. That does kind of make sense to me in hindsight, and it's not a bad film. I actually laughed out loud quite a bit during this film. There is some really decent humor in there. We see a different world we see the world of cats, don't we? The kingdom of cats in this, that sort of exist in almost like this parallel dimension. They go through like these wormholes and portals.
Reminding me of, do you ever watch Courage the Cowardly Dog? The cat. There's like an orange cat character that's really fucking weird and a bit sexual. And he's like,
what?
I swear he is. I don't know if he is, but I feel like he was. I don't know. I feel like he used to kidnap an old lady all the time. I can't remember.
I don't remember that.
So if he did, I feel like, why else would you kidnap an old lady? Like, I don't know. But he was like this, like, I don't know. But just I got vibes of him with this weird, like, it was a bit, what's the word? A little bit, what's that word that I'm looking
sexual,
for?
Strange.
No,
I don't know where we're going with
strange,
this.
But I don't know, nihilistic in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, like that kind of vibe I got from the cats, because when they took her away and like, I don't know, it was just it was a bit weird, a bit like.
I actually kind of like that about it though, because it starts off this really cutesy movie, doesn't it? Like I think they're walking to school,
a bit weird.
and
this. Like, okay.
Well, yeah, I'm about to get to that. Like, they just initially see a cat that's crossing a road that's about to get hit by a truck, and she runs across the road and she manages to save it at the last minute. Then all of a sudden it like jumps on its hind legs and starts talking and thanking her for saving its life. And you think that's it. And she's like, okay, that's a little bit strange. And as you're watching it and you're going, oh, this is a, whimsical world where cats talk. This is absolutely fine. Yeah, and then they're like, the kingdom of cats are completely indebted to her. and want to thank her for saving the life of what we later learn is a prince of the cats. So they start showering her with gifts, and all the gifts they give her are gifts that cats would like. So, it's like mice for her to eat, and they fill her garden full of cattails and whatnot. And then eventually they're like, yeah, we want you to marry the prince. You're going to come to our kingdom, and you shall marry the prince of the cats. And then it starts getting a little bit sinister and a little bit dangerous. But I think those are always the best kind of fairy tales, really, the ones with like an element of danger to them. So in order to get out of what has now become
a bit like Fatal Attraction, like starts off nice.
Yeah, I guess so. No bunnies get boiled in this film, though. There is that. And then she enlists the help of Baron, who's the character from Whisper of the Heart, to try and get her essentially out of this arranged marriage. Now, when they do get to the kingdom, it is all a little bit uneasy, isn't it? Because you've got a lot of the people who populate the Kingdom of the Cats who go, oh, this is a bad place. You need to get out of here. It's not safe. And they're warning her against everything. They're showering her with gifts. They're trying to lure her in. And I think that is very fairy tale like. I tell you the film that this reminded me of in a number of aspects, actually. Labyrinth, David Bowie movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that, the Jim Henson film.
Long time ago.
So it's very much like this Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. And there's an element of danger in there. And that's almost like a marriage thing. He's like, stay with me in this kingdom and like love me, and you can have everything you've ever wanted. It's very much that it's like the forbidden fruit kind of thing, isn't it? Like trying to lure you in. And there even is a maze. There is a labyrinth later on in this movie where the walls are changing, and they're trying, he's trying to steer her away from the finish line, the King of the Cats. So yeah, there were a number of elements in this movie that did remind me of something like Labyrinth and those whimsical fairy tale adventure stories.
Yeah, it was. It was a weird kind of thing, because it was kind of, they were in there. Then it's like it's what I don't. There was something it reminded me of. I can't think of what it is, but like they go into this world, but then there's the good cats and the bad. Like, do you know what I mean? There's like that good section and the bad section. I'm trying to think. There is a movie that's like this, but I can't think of what it is. But cats are always the bad things, aren't they, in movies? Like,
yes, they're always the villain.
Yeah, they're always a villain. Dogs are never the villain. They're always the good ones.
I was going to ask you, are you more of a cat person or a dog person?
Oh, I'm more of a dog person. Cats kill me. Like I can't go near cats. Like,
are you allergic?
Like highly allergic.
Oh,
like,
I never knew that.
If I spend too much time around a cat, I stop breathing. Not even joking.
Oh shit!
So, no, I can't do cats.
Yeah, there were a number of bits in this movie that I laughed at. I thought were really funny. I like the bit where she goes to the aid of, well, actually, she goes to get the help from Baron, and she's, invited into that sort of antique, dollhouse or whatever it happens to be where he lives. And then all of the cats take her away and said, right, we're dragging you back to the Kingdom of the Cats. And there's this big elaborate chase, and you've got Toto, the crow, who's, pursuing. And they kind of airdrop the fat white cat, Muta. They're like, the crow's got him in his talons, and he goes like, right, okay, go get it. He just drops Muta, and he just face plants on the floor. Like he doesn't do anything. He just, I thought he died at that point. I thought, oh my God.
I like Toto.
Yeah, Toto was cool.
Toto reminds me of like any, those like the stone gargoyles in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes. Yeah.
Reminds me of those. It's that whole, because obviously is stone and then becomes real. It's that whole kind of it's
still really creative and fun. When we get to the King of the Cats, I absolutely loved all of that stuff, especially the stuff with the maze.
Is it because their houses are kind of like Hobbit homes?
Yeah, I guess a little bit. But then you got like the really tall towers and everything. But it did get to a point where I was like, okay, the element of danger does kind of disappear. Towards the end, it gets very slapsticky, very comedic. The villain cats, the King of the Cats and whatnot, and all of his guards are completely incompetent. It just becomes an absolute farce, an absolute cartoon, and you realize that your main characters aren't really in any kind of peril after a certain point. But that would usually bother me, but it didn't in this, because I think it did establish quite a very light-hearted tone from the beginning. And even I say, like, the element of danger, like the cats aren't to be trusted. they were never like terrifying. There was just, you know, you couldn't trust them. They just was a little bit weird, especially with like the whole arranged marriage thing. They were a little bit pushy with some things, I guess. But it gets really funny towards the end, like the bit where they're trying to misdirect them in the labyrinth, and they work out that one of them's a fake wall, and the Baron kicks it over, and they all just like topple like dominoes, and it cuts back to the King of the Cats. And I don't know if the English version's the same as the Japanese here, but he says like, "Oh, we told them not to just stand in a straight line, because otherwise when they fall over, they'll fall over like dominoes." That was fun. Yeah. And then he what was the other bit that made me laugh around that part? Yeah, they're running up the tower because he's trying to stop them from getting out of the kingdom. And he says, "Oh, don't worry, I've got guards in the tower. It's absolutely okay." And all the guards start running down the tower, and then the stairs just collapse, and they'll just fall to their deaths. And he's just like, "Oh, terrible construction." Like, it's just, it gets really slapsticky, but I actually loved that stuff. I thought that was really funny towards the end. It reminded me of something like Emperor's New Groove. Like, just, you don't take it seriously. It's fun.
Kinda. I get what you mean.
You know, like the bit in Emperor's New Groove where Yzma's like chasing Cusco.
Yeah, I kind of get you. I mean, not as much, but yeah.
You don't have to think about it. You just, you know, it's just a fun little caper, really, isn't it? I really like the Baron character. I thought he's like super cool, and you know, sort of that swashbuckling, hero character that will save the damsel and everything. It's cool. I liked his character.
I like the fat cat. I like the fact of like I like the designs of that. I liked how they looked. They all had their own sort of personality in the design as well. I don't think there was really a design that was like, oh, this just looks the same as this. I think everything had its own uniqueness to it, which was good, because even like, for instance, Spirited Away, obviously every character looked weird and different, and that was that. But you also had a lot of characters look the same as this. With a lot of this, there was a lot of differences in everything, which I think was quite a nice attention to detail.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun idea. I like that the Kingdom of the Cats is sort of like this parallel world, that the cats exist in our world, but they've sort of got this secret society together, and you have to, you know, it's like you have to say the password or something, or you have to go and speak to this certain cat. And yeah, no, I thought it was a fun idea, but I just don't think it's got that much staying power. I don't think there's any, and maybe it didn't. I don't think there's like any inherent like massive emotion behind this movie or anything to really keep you coming back to it. It's just a fun 70-minute movie with cats, and that was it for me. There are some moments of beauty though. I do, towards the end where she returns back to the human world, I thought it was quite nice imagery where all the crows sort of form that staircase for her to run down as she runs back to the school at the very end. I thought that was like a cool visual, nice idea.
I think for her to come home, what they should have done was she should have had to like gut one of the cats and wear it around her head, like the flesh of the cat.
Oh God!
Like, so she was now queen of the cats, and then she would get to leave. I think they should have done that.
Do you know how I thought it was going to end? So you know where they're like free falling, and she's hanging on to the Baron, and she's hanging on to Muta right before the crows come in and, you know, like save them. When we're first introduced to Baron, he's just like the figure, isn't he? Like the antique store thing. He's still, he's motionless. And then the sun comes out, doesn't it? It's really weird. The sun comes out, and then it seems to dip away, and then he comes to life. So it was almost like it has to be nighttime for him to come out. Initially, I thought at the beginning. Well, when they're falling, they see the sun rising, or it was going down. And I thought, is he going to turn into like an action figure as they're falling? Like, are they just going to fall to their deaths? That's where I thought it was going initially at first, and then it didn't really pan out that way.
What does that remind me of? I swear, I don't know, but it's something that reminds me of where that kind of happens, and they do turn into that like part of the way through. And then like she would kind of wake up and it'd be like, oh, like kind of now, you know, kind of flashback to when she saved the cat from being run over.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of like it all happened in her head, sort of bit like that. There's something like that. But yeah, we've seen that kind of thing before, haven't we?
And then there's the cat in this that looks exactly like, I couldn't remember if she looks like Duchess or Marie. I think she looks like Marie from the Aristocats, the white cat with the pink bow.
It. I thought, I knew I recognized her from something, but yeah. She was obviously that quite obviously. What did she even say? Because she said when she saw her, like, I swear that like she said something like everything's much prettier here or something like that. So I can't remember what she said, but do you know what I mean? And it was that kind of cliche look of that whole like princess looking cat of that, you know, like whatever the cat was called, Naris the cat, but
yeah. Honestly, that's all I have to say about it. Really, the music was fine. Again, nothing stand out for me.
Nothing stood out in the music for me.
Yeah, Yuji Nomi did the soundtrack. I thought the music fit fine, but yeah, it just didn't really jump out to me all that much, to be honest.
Nothing
it's
about
fine.
this was staying power of in 4 weeks. Looking back, going, I remember that. It was just that was one of the movies.
I know once we've done all these movies, we're going to do like a ranking tier list like we did with all the Disney animated classics when we did those. I was trying to think where I'd put this. If you've got, like S tier, A tier, B tier, etc. I'm not sure what tier we went down to with the Disney ones. Was it like F tier was the lowest or something?
I feel like we got on F. I don't know.
I feel like this might be like a C tier, perhaps, or something like that. Possibly B, but I need to see where all the others rank. But yeah, when you're talking about a filmography that's contained such films as Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, even like Porco Rosso, My Neighbor Totoro, Grave of the Fireflies, is this film at that level? Absolutely not. Is the animation at that level? Absolutely not. It's fine. To me, this feels like a straight to like video movie.
They're all so different. It is quite hard with the animation to say, oh, it's not at that level. Oh, it's not this. It's like, but it's a lot better than some as well. So
yeah,
the animation's a hard one to pinpoint.
I guess that will do it for our review on The Cat Returns then. I still enjoyed it. This was fun. It was nice to have a little bit of like a shorter one thrown in the mix out of these ones that we've done the last few weeks. But we're back up to a 2-hour one next week. And this is actually one of the ones that most people hail as one of their favorites. This is probably one of the biggest ones. Back to Hayao Miyazaki with this one. It's Howl's Moving Castle, which I don't know if you've seen that one.
Or movie in the thing called again?
The what, sorry?
The second movie that we did. What was it called?
That was Castle in the Sky, wasn't it?
I knew there was a similarity. I knew in the name. I was like, hang on a minute. I know they were sounding the same. Because I remember I looked earlier when I looked and I was like, wait, what's next? What sort of stuff? And I was like, why do I feel like we've seen this one? Like, I was just there, just like, there's a similarity somewhere. I briefly looked over it, but yeah, that's why. Castle.
So we'll be down to the last 10, I think, when we start
Castle in the Sky.
mashup.
Yeah.
Could we create like a massive title out of every single title of the Studio Ghibli movies?
Like it could have been like Princess and the Fireflies. Brave of the Princess.
Yeah. Oh no. But yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is going to be next week. I have seen that one before. It's very, very, very long time ago. All I remember is Christian Bale plays the main character, and I think Billy Crystal's in it as well. So you've got that to look forward to. A very, very disinterested sounding Christian Bale from what I remember, but there we go. Okay.
Cat Returns in the Sky. Mm-hmm. Cat Returns in the Sky.
I mean, they were in the sky. They did return. And when they returned, they were in the sky. Yeah, no, you're right there.
Cat Returns in the Sky.
Okay, if you've seen this movie, I've actually heard a lot of people have seen this one. Let us know your thoughts on The Cat Returns. How would you sort of rank it among all the other Studio Ghibli movies?
Totoro Returns.
You'd think, like, how big Totoro is, just globally, like, as a character. You think they would have really cashed in on that, don't you? And just produced...
What if they made Princess Totoro in the Sky?
Or, give Disney time if they get their hands on it. Please do consider subscribing as well for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. I always try it. If there's another video that takes my fancy, I'll probably jump on another live stream this week. But if not, you can expect us next Wednesday. No, not yet. We've got another 2 years to wait for that, I think. 2027. We've got to wait for that.
I don't want to.
Oh, no. But you are reading Lord of the Rings at the moment. You're almost at the end.
Almost. Very, 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 very close.
The ring has just been destroyed, but there's still much more to go.
There's so much to go.
Yeah.
In comparison to how much there was, there's like nothing left, but still.
You've been reading that for what, 2.5 to 3 weeks? You've made good progress on it.
Getting through it.
Yeah.
Getting through it. I think that fellowship took me like 3 days.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was then like the next week I kind of I was quite busy the next week, so it slowed down a bit. But I think the first bit I kind of sped through.
I wish I could read that fast. I would give anything to read that fast, but yeah, no, you're getting it done. Right, that'll do it for us. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in, and we will see you on the next live stream. Take care, everyone.